CutleryMore.com is officially 26 years old, and we're having a big sale to celebrate where you can save mostly between 20 to 50% off various knives, sets of knives, steak knives, sharpening stones, and some cookware. I've got a bunch of the items that made the sale list right here in front of me from my studio collection. I'm going to go over, talk about some of the specs, explain who it's for, and just move right on to the next one. And let's get started with some of these bulky items so I can free up some space, like our Nexus steak knives. These are going to vary in their steel from just a really soft stainless steel to AUS 10, and their Rockwell harnesses will vary from the 50s up into that 60 to 61. We've got some Packawood handles, some resin-based handles, and some natural wood as well. And they are going to be anywhere from a 4-piece up to the 8-piece, and you get to choose whichever one you want. I think it's 99 bucks, and there you have it. Okay, I just freed up some space here. Next up, these are the Yaxell sharpening stones. It's a little trio that comes with a sharpening bridge. You get the 5,000, the 1,000, and the 400. So if you are following the Not an Expert Sharpening series, where I teach y'all how to sharpen knives as I learn to sharpen them, so it's not just the expert guru coming in and making you feel like crap because you can't sharpen knives as well. I'm learning as you learn. It's a fun series, and I do use the Yaxell stones here as well as some others, but they're great. A lot of these are made by third party. Wink, wink. The Yaxell, they're not making these specifically, but there's another manufacturer that is making them, and they're branding it. And with that, what I will say is that they're really good stones for the price. Okay, next up, let's talk about some Centon Chinese cleavers. The first one I have here is the Kurochi, and then we have the Migaki. So what's the difference? Well, this is Kurochi, and this is a semi-polished finish. This is a little bit bigger, and this is a little bit smaller. You still get the very traditional barrel-shaped handle with the exposed bent stick tang at the butt of the knife with a stainless steel ferrule. Both of these are made with Shirogami No. 2 white carbon steel, and they're coming in at that 57 to 59 Rockwell, so they are really easy to hone and maintain. If you're looking for a decent Chinese cleaver that's hand forged, and when I say decent, these are good Chinese cleavers at the price, you just can't beat it. And with the steel, remember the core carbon steel, so you got to keep these dry. Now, let's say you want a Chinese cleaver just to see if you actually will like one. This is the Nexus Chinese cleaver, same as the steak knives that I showed you. 3-layer stainless steel coming in at a 56, I believe, Rockwell hardness, barrel-shaped handle, stainless steel ferrule. This is going on sale for only 49 bucks. So if you've been curious about getting a Chinese cleaver, this is it. If you want to spend a little bit more but get a hand forged and definitely a better bang for your buck, go with the Sentan. We love the Nexus. There's a time and a place for it. Also, if you're big into barbecue and you just want something you can hack away relatively hard without destroying your cutting board, and I'm talking cooked meats, like just getting through some pork shoulder, you boop, 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 boop. This is a good one. Then you can throw it down, let it be all greasy and wet for 4 hours, go have a couple of beers, come back, oh crap, I forgot to wash my Nexus. You're gonna be totally fine. Okay, the Zuma. This is made with martensitic stainless steel in the core with stainless steel cladding, and the Kurochi is a hybrid. It is part natural Kurochi, but it is then enhanced and etched and somehow dyed, so it's not going to wear away. You get an ebony wood octagonal handle, and this is a hand forged blade coming from Japan. I'm sorry, it's a hand-forged blade coming from China that's made as a gyuto, Japanese style, but it's made with US American steel. So it's just this mishmash of multiple countries, and it's just a cool blade. This is surprisingly good. The geometry on this is fantastic. You get a decent spine thickness, which is rounded at the spine and at the choil, so it's very comfortable. For the price, this outperforms 100% Japanese-made blades that are 3-4 times the amount, and I believe this is coming from like $180 down to $130. Highly recommend. Okay, what's next? Let's talk about some, here we go. This is the Zwilling Tanray. This is essentially a knife that we created with Zwilling to allow people that want to have a smaller footprint, less bulbous handle than the Kramer Damascus series. That's it. Still made with SG2 powdered core, coming in at that 63 Rockwell, 100 layers of Damascus on the side of the blade. This has that traditional Zwilling Pro type of very comfortable flared bolster. Full tang construction going into a micarta handle, I believe. Yes, this is micarta. Triple riveted with the pin there, a nice little curved butt of the knife. Think the Kramer Damascus, same type of quality, same type of steel, but the handle itself is much smaller, and you get a more traditional gyuto type blade shape, and it's not as tall. Now you may be thinking Kramer makes a smaller version of their Damascus blade. That is 100% correct, but it still has a very bulbous handle, whereas this is just much smaller, narrow. That's that. And the set includes the gyuto, or you can get these as individual knives. You've got the Santoku. This is a great little blade. This has almost got Haneski vibes, like prep knife Haneski type of shape. This is their utility. Good heel height at the choil here, so you can get into a little bit of a tap or a push chop with this. And because of the way this hits the cutting board, if you're using the front half, your knuckles aren't banging into the board. And then you've got this oh so beautiful serrated, because it comes to a point here, serrated bread knife. All right, we've got cleavers, we've got Tanray, we've got the Zuma. Next up, let's talk about some Wusthof knives. This is the Wusthof Icon Classic Creme. So everything that all the other Wusthof knives have, except a demi bolster, which is the whole Icon series as a whole, and then the creme, kind of a, well, creme, cream, off-white, antique white type of handle, triple riveted. Like all of the Icon handles, this has got a bit bigger of a handle that really tapers out at the butt there, and it's just got a good feel to it. If you like a heavy handle feel, this is it. It's even heavier than the normal Wusthof Classic, so keep that in mind. And of course, it's the normal Wusthof stainless steel, super easy to maintain, 56, 58 Rockwell, just a good overall chef's knife. That's on sale. Here's 3 other Wustofs. We've talked quite a bit about this little sandwich knife, scalloped edge, because this doesn't come to a point, it is rounded, so you get the scalloped edge sandwich knife. This has got a heavy discount to it. I believe all 3 or all 4 of the Wustofs I'm showing you are 30% off, which Wusthof doesn't go on sale that often, so that's a pretty good deal. But this is for just whether you just love sandwiches or you've got a bunch of kids running around and you're making sandwiches for them. The scalloped edge is great for slicing your tomato, your strawberries, yeah, or scooping your strawberry jam, your peanut butter, your mayonnaise, whatever you want, and then slicing through your bread. It's a one-stop shop of a sandwich knife. Cool little blade here. Also, if you like to do, say, charcuterie types of setup and you want something where you can just slice through some meat and cheese real quick and then you can scoop out all of your condiments, yeah, you might have to wipe it off in between, but again, you could use one knife and get her done. This is the Wusthof 5.5-inch Nagare. And I gotta say, I did not know that Wusthof made this. I don't know when it came out. It just came to me. This is a cool little blade. I was pleasantly surprised with it because you get enough knuckle clearance, so you can get into a good push, a good tap if needed, and a little bit of a rock. But what I really like about this blade is how much surface contact it makes with the cutting board. It is a very, very straight Nagare profile, much more traditional Japanese than some other Nagare knives that I see that come out have a bit more of a curvature there. Great everyday little prep blade. Next up, this is the Wusthof brand new Chai Dao. That's all they call it. They don't give it any other descriptor to the best of my knowledge. We've got hollows on the side of the blade. I think of this as the king or queen, whatever you want to call it, of rock chopping. If you like to keep that tip of the knife on the cutting board and just locomotive rock chop all day long, or if you do a lot of fresh herbs where you are cross chopping and you're doing that pivot, which a lot of these higher Rockwell Japanese knives do not like. The blades hate it because they're too hard and they're too thin. Well, this is that awesome stainless steel by Wusthof with the lower Rockwell hardness so it can handle that pivoting. It's easy to hone, easy to sharpen. Think of this as like a tall rocking Nagare or a tall rocking Santoku. It's just a cool blade. And it's one of those things that even if you're really into higher Rockwell Japanese knives, but you do need that specific knife for rock chopping, this is it. Okay, let's go, since we're talking about softer steel here. Look, these are magnetized, so they're like moving. See that? I do not have a haunted house. Okay, we need to separate you two. Easy there. You know, there's this little device I got, it's buried back there, called a degausser, and I got it for like 12 bucks on Amazon. You put the knife on there, turn it on, it does this like type of thing and demagnetizes it. I'll do a video on that at some point because some people find it very annoying when their knives do that, and I understand. Okay, speaking of softer steel, this is the Sabatier carbon steel 6-inch. That's actually 5.75. We'll just call it 6. Little tiny chef's or prep knife. Made in France. This is their bolsterless version, so you can sharpen from tip to heel. Here's a fun fact. The Gyuto was inspired by the French chef's knife, not the German chef's knife. The more you know. So you get a resin-based handle, triple riveted with brass rivets, full tang. This has a very minimalistic bolster compared to other Western style chef's knives. Even the larger version of this, which isn't on sale, just this one is, still has a very minimalistic bolster. This is coming in a 54 Rockwell and it's carbon steel. Super easy to sharpen, just an all-around good knife. And if you get into the K Sabatier and the other Sabatier style French-made knives coming out of Thiers, France, they're kind of collector type of knives because not a ton are made. They're not super, super popular. People go nuts over these. So that's a cool little blade. Okay, next up, this is the Shun Classic Santoku. You've got VG Max stainless steel in the core with Damascus cladding, a minimalistic bolster with a D-shaped pack of wood, ebony colored handle, stainless steel end cap. If you're left-handed and you want a Santoku, that's great. This will still work for you, even though it's technically a right-handed D shape. You can see right here the way it sticks out, so it grabs right into your crease of your fingers in your palm. But a lot of people who are left-handed use these and they're totally fine because it's not as pronounced of a D shape as some other Japanese knives can go. This is the Miyabi Mizu chef's knife and Santoku. These are both going to be on sale, along with the Kuritsuke, which I don't have, unfortunately, but the Kuritsuke is pretty cool. So what do you get here? This is basically a artisan blade with a Kaizen handle. It's a hybrid mashup of the two that we created with Miyabi because we had so many people that they wanted the SG2, but they didn't like the bigger, bulbous, big trophy bass belly of a handle of the artisan, and they just wanted the easy to take care of, more slim Kaizen handle. So we mixed the two together, and that's exactly what you get. 63 Rockwell. You've got a sashimi finish, micarta handle that's a black and gray wood tone, red inlays, and the mosaic pin with, of course, the kanji at the butt of the knife. Great knives. That SG2 stainless steel is going to, you're right on that, just above the line of Rockwell hardness that gets into, you don't want to be pivoting real hard. You want to make sure you're using a softer cutting board. You don't want to beat these knives. Going into the pit of an avocado, but twist, no, not that knife. That's your softer German steel, or some of your VG10 stainless steel, which we'll have here, but you got to treat them with a little bit more care. Okay, back to soft steel. This is the Zwilling Rocking Santoku. It's essentially like a K-tip Santoku-esque prep knife. This thing is going to be, I believe, $50 on sale. It's normally, can't remember, I think over 100. You get that Zwilling Pro flared bolster, triple riveted, full tang. This is an awesome, simple prep knife. Could you use this to prep a whole giant meal? You could, but this for just a quick salad, quick sandwich, making some tacos, you're just prepping for a few minutes. Awesome little blade. And because it's that soft Zwilling steel that's stainless, coming in at that 57-ish Rockwell, it's easy to sharpen and maintain. You just pop open some Amazon boxes, you're going to be fine. Don't put any of these in the dishwasher, but some of these could survive it, like the softer steels. Okay, this is not exactly what is going to be on sale. From here up is. This is the Hatsuko Core Kirogane Ko Bunka and Bunka set. They're going to be sold as a set, and the ones that are on sale are going to have the olive wood handle, which is going to be similar to these down here. I have the ebony in my collection. So what do you get? You get Aligami #2 carbon steel in the core with, I believe these have a stainless steel clad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Listen, these are rough around the edges, but you get hand-forged Japanese knives that are very, very traditional with an octagonal handle, made with real wood, and it's carbon steel. Keep them dry, but take care of them. You can't beat these for the price, and the two on sale, I don't know what the price is going to be, but it's going to be worth it. This little Ko Bunka is just cute. It's fun. Get it, you'll put it to use. But the regular Bunka, used for everyday prep, this could replace a chef's knife, no problem. When I say they're rough around the edges, you will see imperfections in the spine and the choil. They're just, again, they're rough. Some of them are pretty sharp out of the box. Some might need a little bit of love. So if you do not have any type of knife sharpener at home, you're not used to sharpening knives, pass on these. If you do want some good hand-forged Japanese knives that you can't beat for the price and you know how to sharpen them, just a couple passes on a 1000 strop, these things are going to be in just perfect shape. Believe me, it's what I had to do. Here's an interesting little duo. These are the Town Cutler US-made knives. This Nakiri is definitely on the site because I remember seeing it. This Exo Blue Slicer is not, but the Nakiri version of this and the flexible fillet knife is. So the Nakiri here, this has a burlap micarta Mexican blanket handle, full tang. We've got Nitro V stainless steel coming in at a 61 Rockwell, US made, really cool knife. Then this is the slicer. However, like I said, it's the Nakiri and the fillet knife that's on there, but I wanted you to see it. This has the same Nitro V stainless steel with a Cerakote finish, and I believe this handle is G10. Yeah, G10 scales. They kind of take some things from the EDC world and apply them to knives at Town Cutler. The owner, really good guy, again, US made. Check those out. Okay, the Shun Nagare. This is in the Shun dual core blade series. So you have alternating layers of VG10, VG2 stainless steel coming in at a 61 Rockwell. There is no core. This is the core. What you see is what you get. This has a pack of wood handle, full tang with a nice little flare at the bolster there, stainless steel end cap, a unique handle shape compared to any other Shun knife. This is very ergonomic, thin but thick at the same time. Like the way your fingers wrap right there, if you're using it at this grip, it's comfortable. But if you're up in the pinch grip, you can see that my hand is not below that second rivet. And I've got decent sized mitts. So at the pinch grip here, you just get this really nice flare out there, and it's nice and snug. So if that's something that matters to you, give this a look. Also, I don't think it's on sale, but check out the Shun Shiranami, which is another dual core series. Okay, we're moving on to the brand new Enzo Olivewood. So what do we get? VG10 stainless steel core with stainless steel Damascus cladding and a sashimi finish with olive wood octagonal handles. You can see these are stamped knives, like many Japanese knives. They are very thin, just enough of a grind on the spine and the choil to round them out a bit. So compared to some other stamped thin knives that have hard edges that are very uncomfortable, these fit a little bit better. The handles are absolutely beautiful. And this is a new series in the Enzo lineup that we have. This series is cool. The petty, get rid of your paring knives. Sorry to say it. Get yourself a 5.5 or 6 inch petty. Nakiri, great. Same profile as the other Enzos. The Gyuto, awesome. This Gyuto is a little bit shorter at the heel, I believe, compared to the other Enzo knives. I think it has a slightly different blade curvature, but I'm going to say this. The Santoku is personally not my favorite blade. I would rather use just a chef's knife, a Gyuto, or a bunka with that tip, or something that has some type of K-tip over that softer type of harder. Like if you look at the curvature of the tip of the blade here, I'd rather just have a K-tip. Maybe it's a personal aesthetic thing. However, this is the Enzo Olivewood Santoku. And this to me is giving off more shorter Gyuto type of vibes compared to that traditional harder type of like rounded sloped tip of the spine. I really like this knife. I've been using it. Let's see, I got this like 2 weeks ago or so. I took it downstairs. My wife has been using it, and I've been using it for just simple prep, and it just feels good. And it's so thin that, considering it's stamped and it's thin, and sometimes you feel like you need to grip a knife hard, it's just so thin, it's just boop, it just goes through stuff. So it's very comfortable at the pinch grip. It feels good, lightweight, big fan. These, they're great, they're cool. This has just become a personal favorite. Again, all on sale. Okay, the Enzo knives, all three of these chef's knives, so the HD, which I'm showing you here, the Hizashi with the blonde packawood handle, and the SG2 are going to be 40% off. Now, the HD and the Hizashi share the same VG10 stainless steel blade with a 61 Rockwell, 37 layers of Damascus cladding with a sashimi finish. Where they are different would be in the handle. The HD has a black and gray micarta handle, triple riveted, that's exposed, with the end cap. And then the Hizashi has a little bit longer of an end cap with a Paka-wood blonde handle and the kanji at the butt of the knife. Now, even though this one's triple riveted and it has a little bit heavier of a handle, you can see the balance of the Hizashi wants to go a little bit blade forward. There is still steel in the handle that is essentially connecting the bolster through the handle into the end cap, and it's still giving you a decent amount of weight, but not like a normal German chef's knife or even the SG2, which is just balanced, where the HD's got a little bit extra weight to it because of the rivets. But again, they're not complete like fall forward blade heavy Japanese knives. The SG2, 101 layers of stainless steel Damascus, 63 Rockwell with the SG2 core, a polished bolster and end cap, micarta black and gray with the mosaic pin and red inlays. Again, all of those are going to be 40% off. Now, we just talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Enzo knives, which are made by Yaxell. Yes, that's our in-house line, but Yaxell is the manufacturer, and they've been around since 1932, making knives for a very long time, but you've probably never heard of them because it wasn't until recently that they started branding their label as in Yaxell on not just knives that they make, but other knives that they make for other people, which is why on the Enzo lines, you can see it says made in Japan, Yaxell. So Yaxell is kind of like that little, they've been lingering in the shadows making knives forever, almost 100 years, and you might not have heard from. But anyway, so this is the Super Go, can't remember, the Kuritsuke, a fantastic blade, SG2 stainless steel core. You get a micarta handle that has that red and black to it. It's just really beautiful. Same type of setup in the sense of the HD down here with the triple riveted handle. This is a surprisingly fluid knife. And what I mean by that is a lot of Kuritsukes have a very straight edge profile, and the way, for whatever reason, the geometry, they're not as good at the rock chop, even like a real shallow rock chop, because the tip digs into the cutting board. With this Kuritsuke, as well as the Enzo Kuritsukes, you can get into a nice rock chop, not too high up, without the tip divoting or digging into the board. Should you be rock chopping forever with an SG2 stainless steel core at a 63 Rockwell? Absolutely not. Can you with this and it feels good? Yes, but if that's your primary cutting technique, A, don't get a K-tip. B, don't get anything above VG10 60 to 61 Rockwell. This is just a really cool Kuritsuke. Okay, moving on. This is the most unique knife in everything that you're going to see, because evidently it was designed by Yaxell, and I don't know if anyone else has done this in particular. So they call this the Kona, SG2 stainless steel core. You've got a sashimi finish. This has a Paka-wood handle, I want to say, with a tapered off butt there and that nice little end cap. So what's interesting about this blade is just the shape as a whole. It's hard, high Rockwell stainless steel, 63, but it's got this big curvature to it. So again, if you want to use this for a little bit of a shallow rock chop as not your primary thing, that curvature is going to be great. But the other thing is, because of how much of the blade that has that sashimi hammered finish and this curvature, a lot of people forget that sometimes when you're slicing, especially if you're pulling with your slice, that curve you can be using it in your favor, because you get basically almost like a shorter blade, but more surface contact with the curvature if you're going to use it. So think slicing where you're kind of pulling up like that, that curvature will work well with you. And then that sashimi finish is going to help with food release, not prevent things from sticking, but help with food release. Cool blade. Okay, we're going to continue on with Yaxell. Here we go, the Yaxell Hana. These are coming in with a 58 Rockwell, I believe. Stainless steel core, sandblasted finish. Yes, they're stamped. They're super thin. They're super light with an ebony wood style pack of wood handle. So it's more like an ebony colored or walnut colored pack of wood handle. Pack of wood is like a wood synthetic resin type of blend. They're super near indestructible, easy to take care of. But what's great about these knives is I know that each one of them in the entire lineup is coming in under $60. So if you want to get into Japanese knives, but you're coming from the world of German knives and you're just used to that heavier handle, wider blade, softer steel type thing, these knives are going to be the perfect transition because you're getting a thin blade, but at a lower Rockwell, that 58, so easy to hone and maintain and sharpen. And then you're getting that feel of a Japanese knife that is a little bit, well, it's definitely more blade heavy, but overall, significantly lighter than any other German style and many other Japanese style blades because of just the material, everything. They're super lightweight. And if you can get yourself a Kuritsuke made in Japan for under 60 bucks, come on. If you've never used a bunka or a hard K-tip type of knife like this Kuritsuke here, then what I would recommend is getting this one because it'll give you just the overall feel and vibe of a Kuritsuke without having to invest in something more, and you get to test the waters and see if it's for you. So all of the Yaxell Hana knives, including this little baby Santoku, a Santoku, will be on the list. I believe this by default is normally 60 bucks, so I don't even know what that's going to go down to, but they're going to be on sale. Okay, we got two. Actually, I'm going to show you this before I forget. This is the Enzo knife briefcase, basically. This thing has a bunch of pockets and, oh, look. Oh, I was wondering where that was. That goes with the Shun dual core, I believe. Okay, cool. Anyway, so you get a bunch of spaces for your knives, this little divider here to help protect your blades. This is like, I don't know how many I fit in here when I moved to this location, but a ton. Who's this for? Culinary student who wants something a little bit beefier than the kit bag you probably got like I did that was like really loosey-goosey, and when I sat it down, it just like, anyway, this fits a ton of knives, and that's going to be a part of the sale. Okay, two more series to cover. Up next, this is the Takayuki VG10. I would compare these to the Yaxell Hana that I just showed you and the Enzo Olivewood. Why? Well, you get very thin, stamped, lightweight knives. These are VG10 stainless steel core, 60 to 61 Rockwell. This has a Nasiji-like finish / almost like a sandblast type of finish to it with a Paka wood handle. The biggest difference between the Olivewood and the Hana compared to these, well, the Olivewood and the VG10 Takayuki are both VG10 stainless steel. The Olivewood with the sashimi finish and the full polished blade will have a little bit better food release and performance when you're going into thicker, denser, wetter ingredients like sweet potato and apple, things, squash, things like that. The finish of the Takayuki, at times, depending on what you're cutting, you might feel just a little bit of drag just because it has more of a matte-like texture. But for most everyday prep, they're going to perform similarly. The Hana is a stainless steel as well, but it's at a lower Rockwell and a lot cheaper compared to the other. Not that they're not expensive, they're on sale. And even when they're not on sale, they're still really affordable. But I would say Hana for beginner, or you need beater Japanese style knives that you just don't need to worry about your barbecue and cooking outdoors, things like that. There's nothing wrong with calling a knife a beater knife because there's certain knives that serve a purpose. Compared to these two, again, if you're 100% used to working with fully polished blades, go with the Enzo Olivewood. If you want something that looks a little bit meaner, a little bit cooler, and you're not worried about cutting up an apple or really tall ingredients, it's not a bad drag, but you can feel it. If you were to go back to back, you'd probably feel it. If I never said anything, you'd probably never even think of it. But anyway, I'm just being honest with you based on my experience. Now, here's what's cool about the VG10 Takayuki is there's this, it actually looks like it's hexagonal. That's what the website is, but it's actually octagonal, but it just has this really interesting taper into the belly of the handle where your fingers will grip around. It's a little bit more ergonomic and it's just got a completely different type of grip. So I also think that the Takayuki, so I have to compare apples to apples here. If I were to hold, I'm going to say, because the heel is a bit heavier on the Takayuki, that the Takayuki is going to, it's also a little bit longer. There's a little bit more weight to the Takayuki. So this like category of traditional looking but stamped Japanese knives, they're great because they're very approachable. You can get a really good stainless steel like the VG10, and they're just super thin and lightweight. When you go from these to a hand forged blade, depending on the maker, you're most likely going to spend more money, but depending on the maker, sometimes the geometry of the blade of these thinner ones is actually better. Not all hand forged knives are perfect in the sense of their geometry. So keep in mind that just because it's hand forged or hammer forged, whatever you want to call it, a forged blade, it doesn't mean it's better. It's all about the heat treatment, the geometry, things like that. Okay, the last one. We talked about all these thin knives. Let's go to the Global Model X. This is the K-tip Nakiri, but look, when I turn it this way, oh, it's thick. These are super thick. They're twice as thick as a normal Global. They're meant to be thick and heavy. Why? Why not? Some people want thick, heavy, easy to take care of, softer stainless steel Japanese knives. And this is what we did. So that's the Nakiri. And then we have the chef's knife, which is a bit higher at the heel compared to the G2 as well. And the taper at the bolster area here, you can see this actually flares out and you can notice it. It doesn't just kind of slowly taper like an on or off ramp of a highway. This has a nice little divot to it, and you can get a little bit more grip with this compared to some of the other Global knives. That's the same one here, but with the hollow edge. And these all have the same Cromova 18 stainless steel, 56 to 58 Rockwell, and easy to take care of, maintain the whole nine. Think Global, but thicker and heavier. Look at this. I'm gonna have to turn it sideways. This is the Global 12-inch brisket knife with hollows on the edge. And again, oh, it's thick. This, oh gosh, for slicing, I tell you, you could take a knife. I've got a bunch of slicers back here that is significantly sharper, got a much harder Japanese steel, and even better of a geometry that won't slice like this because of the weight that you get when you're coming in, and you get that round the tip, so you actually can come in on a more of a push type of slice, or the pull back. The weight, it's just effortless. Getting through any type of smoked meat, even something that's not smoked for a super long time like a pork loin or chicken breast, you still get that smoked exterior that's tougher. Now, when you get into something like brisket, whether you do fat side up or down, and you get that really nice bark, the weight of this is perfect, which is why we called it the brisket knife. Up, autofocus, let's go. Hey, there we go. Huge blade, nice and thick, nice and heavy. Really, really great for barbecue lovers. Okay, that's a lot of words. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not on sale. Which way am I going here? This way. This is not on sale. But it is brand new and it's launching the same weekend as our 26th anniversary sale. This is the Miyabi Iki, I-K-I, a limited edition series celebrating 20 years in business making knives. Really cool packaging. And look at this. They call it a moonlight Damascus etched pattern with the MC66 stainless steel in the core, coming in at a 66 Rockwell with a maple burl handle that is dipped in glass. It's just really, really cool. And the first 500 will get, I believe it's pronounced parsimon. I had to look that up. Stamped by the maker. Just a really cool set. Again, not on sale. They're limited edition, but it's worth showing y'all because they're just beautiful. That is the Gyuto. They also have a Santoku and a paring knife, and you can get all of the knives individually, not just as a set. In fact, I don't even know if they're selling it as a set because it's not even, yeah, it is live on the site now, but it's just the 3 knives, I believe, for right now. I may be wrong, and it may change. We'll see. So there you have it. A bunch of knives, a bunch of discounts. All this is on sale. There's a bunch of other items you can get on sale as well. And that does it. I'm Chef Brandon with cutlerymore.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be sure to get to the 26-year anniversary sale before end of day on Monday, August 4th. Otherwise, you'll miss out on all of these savings. Take care.